So is this topic still relevant? It. My channel, my discussion. It's been a running joke in the fandom that the women in Dragon Ball are destined to be baby mamas or housewives. However, in recent news, some people are actually trying to stand up for these women and say they are more than that, even dubbing this as one of the best female casts in anime. In fact, people are so divided in this matter that when I announced I was making a video discussing this topic, I got some comments. However, it did best show just how split the fandom is when it comes to our girls, and just how passionate some of us can be. But that begs the question, where do I stand in the matter? I'm more in the middle. I can understand why people find this sexist, but I personally don't think so. I enjoy these characters, but I wouldn't dub them as one of the best female casts. There are other shows who do it a lot better. But are Dragon Ball women just really doomed to be housewives? Do they really just become moms and stay in the back lines while the men do all the work? Well, let's find out. I'm going to judge the 4 main wives of Dragon Ball by their character, their goals, personality, and the role they play in the story. Then at the end, we'll see just how many of them really fit this stereotype.
Chi-Chi!
Let's start off with the original housewife herself, Chi-Chi. Now this is who people usually think about when talking about this topic. She marries Goku, has 2 sons, has no job, stays home cooking and cleaning, and just seems to have no goals for herself. Plus, she's super annoying. She's always forcing her sons to study even when there's a major threat at the door. Chi-Chi, if the Earth is destroyed, then all that time spent studying will be for nothing. Not to mention, she's so mean to Goku. This scene always pisses me off.
Did you see Goku over there? I don't want to scare you, but he's in pretty bad shape. If you're going to worry about anyone, well...
My poor little boy! What did those bad men do to you? I promise I'm never letting you out of my sight again!
What a bitch. So you probably think I'd give Chi-Chi a terrible rating, right? Well, no. I actually think she's very misunderstood. Imagine finding out that your husband died while protecting your son, who also got kidnapped by the villain from the last arc. You're all alone for a year, then you see your baby on TV fighting dangerous aliens who are stronger than the last guy who killed your husband. You finally reunite only for him to be shot off into space for another couple of months, and when he comes back, your husband is stranded on a planet refusing to come home. Then more and more problems arise, which either results in your children in danger and or your husband dead or missing, leaving you to raise your boys alone. Chi-Chi practically runs the Sun family. She's a no-nonsense mom who wants the best for her kids, and God help anyone who gets in her way. She doesn't put up with Goku's hijinks, even knows when to put him in his place, and all she demands is for her husband to co-parent the family. However, I can't act like she's a saint. She is still annoying at times, should be more understanding to her sons, and a terrible wife to Goku. So let's tally up the scores. Goal, achieved. Personality, C-. Role, head of the family. Overall, I score her a high C. A good mother, but definitely recommend marriage counseling.
Bulma!
Let's head to our next contender, Bulma. Although Bulma is not a fighter, she is far from being a housewife. Appearing in the first episode of Dragon Ball, Bulma has been here since the beginning, being the one to really start Dragon Ball off. Without her, Goku would still be stuck in the forest and Earth would not have the hero it knows now. Originally searching for a boyfriend, she and Goku set off into the world to collect the Dragon Balls, and to this day, she continues to help the Z fighters any way she can. Bulma is a tech prodigy. Not just being talented with machines, but also becoming the CEO of the biggest company in the world. She starts a relationship with Vegeta, who before was a world-conquering alien responsible for millions of deaths, and somehow tamed him enough to be a family man. And let's not forget, if it wasn't for her, Trunks couldn't have gone back in time to warn everyone about the androids, and the future and past would have been doomed. Alright, that's all of Bulma's wins. Let's move on to her flaws. Like Chi-Chi, Bulma can be annoying at times, being narcissistic, being cowardly at times, and as Krillin puts it,
Seriously! 5 ancient sages of bitchdom all gathered together one day on the peaks of Mount Bitch to proclaim your birth. And 100 years later, when all the bitch stars had aligned, you were born and made everybody's life around you a living hell because you are such a bitch!
Not to mention, she used to be unloyal, always flirting away in the original Dragon Ball, even though she was in a relationship with Yamcha. At least she was faithful to Vegeta, which, come to think of it, maybe she knows she has to be faithful to him or he'll blow up the planet. But even with her flaws, I still enjoy her. Why? Because she's a fun character. Yes, she can be annoying, but she still has a good heart at the end of the day. I'd rather watch a flawed character than a Mary Sue that can do no wrong any time of the day. Let's tally up her points. Goal, achieved. Personality, B. Role, Tech Master. Overall, A-. She may have her faults, but there would be no Dragon Ball without her.
Android 18.
Perfect score! 10 out of 10. Everything about her is amazing. She's awesome, strong, will kick your ass, and is just the best girl. Overall, a score of A+. Nice character!
GD, you promised to be fair.
But she's my waifu.
GD, take off the rose-tinted glasses.
Fine.
So if you may have guessed, 18 is my favorite out of these ladies. Check out Joe's video to find out why. She appears in the Android saga, where it is foretold that she and her brother would one day terrorize the future, but by the end of Z, she becomes one of the Z fighters, marries Krillin, and has a daughter with him. As for her personality, I think Taka said it best.
Android 18, only one, but even then she had a mid personality at best, where she was just very stoic, and that is default fucking writing for women. For a lot of women are just stoic, and you have to do what you have to do. I will support you completely. I'm like, yeah, this is porn for men, huh?
She doesn't really have a goal other than to make money. Hell, we don't even know much about her before she became a cyborg, other than her name is Lazuli. And although she's one of the strongest Z fighters, she really doesn't fight that much. She only fights in the World Tournament in the Majin Buu saga, gets one-shotted by Beerus in the movie, and doesn't even join the Sea Fighters in Resurrection F. We finally see her return in the Tournament of Power, where then she seems to at least show up for future fights, but she skipped about 3 arcs in Super. Which I guess I can defend. The Universe 6 saga is more of a tournament for Goku and Vegeta. Goku Black was more focused on future Trunks. And Resurrection F, I guess someone needed to watch Marin. But 18 is far from the stereotypical stay-at-home housewife. Like the rest of these mamas, she runs the house, but is more gentle with her husband. Speaking of which, she's the muscle out of the two, as they can be a cute power couple together. I say can be, because they barely do tag team together, which is upsetting because it would be cool to see them fight together as a family. But I guess we gotta give more time to the Saiyans, like we haven't already. Which also, let I remind you, who was the first person who ever made the legendary Super Saiyan look like a chump? Oh, 18.
GD.
Although she's a good character, there's not much to her other than the stoic fighter girl, who barely fights, honestly. Maybe if we knew more about her backstory, like a flashback episode, where we see what she was like when she was a human and how she got kidnapped by Gero. Explore her inner turmoil of being a cyborg, like how she mentions to Cell, and then her coming to terms with her newfound cybernetics. We got mentioned of this during the Cell saga, but wouldn't it be more jarring to have seen it? Show, don't tell. Imagine if instead of a Future of Trunks special, we just got clips of Trunks talking about his backstory, and nothing else. But I'm afraid it's been too long. Toriyama probably forgot about her backstory, and she'll just be in the background. At least for now. Let's see what happens in the future. So let's tally up the scores. Goal, get rich. Personality, B. Role, background fighter. Overall, B+. You're still an A+ to me, Bayteen.
Videl.
And let's finish off with a tricky case, Videl. Daughter of Mr. Satan, Videl first appeared in the Majin Buu arc where she was Gohan's love interest and had a rivalry with him. Videl's goal was to one day surpass her father and become the next world champion, which the show implies she was on her way of getting there. Videl had a tomboyish personality and was a very determined fighter, as seen with the Spopovich fight, which all disappeared when she married Gohan. Yeah, everything. She basically became a different character when she became a wife. She no longer fights, becomes calm and polite, and just stays home to take care of the baby. Quoting Taka's earlier claim,
one of the biggest complaints I'm going to have about Z is the second a character has a kid, it's like the kid absorbs their personality and they just become a mother and have no personality anymore. It is a really bad writing trope in Z. Really bad in Super, because pretty much they took Videl's tomboy personality and just made her, I'm a mom now. And I have no personality. And it's just, it literally is sexist.
her entire character just became Gohan's housewife. With Chi-Chi, you can give the argument that's what she wanted from the beginning, but Videl was established to have other goals other than Gohan. She was a strong, determined fighter who wanted to prove herself to her dad. She loved fighting, which was a nice contrast to Gohan, who hated fighting. Even if you made the argument that maybe the fight with Spopovich had traumatized her, she flies off with Gohan later that same day. Not only that, but you see her stand up to Super Boo later on in the arc, and she showed no hints of being traumatized in the arc. She just does a complete 180 when she marries Gohan, leaving everything that made her interesting. I can say she's a good wife. I'd argue she'd probably be the best wife out of them all, as she and Gohan do seem to have a loving, healthy relationship. She stood up to Barry when he tried to accuse Gohan of cheating with picture evidence and still trusted Gohan. Can you really imagine the other three women doing that? But that's kinda all she is now, a good wife. Where's that no-nonsense fighter who stood tall even after she was being beaten up and had no chance of winning? Where's that girl who figured out that Gohan was the great Saiyaman all by herself? Where's the girl who had the dream of one day being as great as her father and one day surpassing him? Because she's been missing for the last 2 decades. So let's tally up her score. Goal, not achieved. Personality, B-. Role, background housewife. Overall, huh? What's this? New character development and superhero?
ファンの幼稚園のお迎えに行けないの。ピッコロさんに迎えに行ってもらえないかなと思って。
Alright, maybe there's hope after all. Cause now this implies she didn't give up fighting after all. Now you can make the argument that she was on a maternity leave in Super and went back to work after she got used to being a mom. Maybe we'll see more of her being a teacher in future series. But that still doesn't erase the character assassination she went through. Remember, this was just mentioned in the superhero movie, which came out in 2022 of last year. Videl has been depicted as just a housewife from the end of Z to GT and to Super for about 20 years now, and now getting some mention of character development. So although this is promising news, it still doesn't make up for her being shafted after all these years. So overall, I give her a score of C, but with hope for progress. So let's see the final scores. Not bad. Like I said before, I don't really agree with the women in Dragon Ball just being housewives. They are fun characters that I enjoy, but I do recognize the issues others may have with them. Is this sexist? Well, keep in mind Dragon Ball came out in the late 80s, where they did have a different mindset back then. And I'd even argue Toriyama still made what that era considered a strong woman. You don't need to throw punches to be considered strong. A strong character can show compassion, are honest and fair, make good judgments, show respect to others, show courage in standing up for beliefs, and have a strong sense of responsibility. Bulma and Chi-Chi are no-nonsense women who are great mothers. One is a proud businesswoman of the biggest company in the world, while the other is practically a single mom raising 2 boys and a Goku on her own. 18 is a tragic character who was first destined to destroy the world, but instead found a peaceful life with a loving husband and child. And although I ripped a lot on Videl, I still think she's fine. I just miss the old fighter we saw in the beginning of the Majin Buu saga, and it seems like she's making a return soon. But as one of my fans pointed out,
the problem is the lack of variety with character archetypes in Dragon Ball. Which is funny because both OGDB and Dr. Slump had lots of variety in how Toriyama treated even secondary characters. Nowadays, on the other hand, it is unfortunately true. We need variety. Having housewife archetype characters is okay. But we need the smart ones, the fighter ones. We need to offer more alternatives than what the show offers. Even if a minor part of the fandom says male fight, female wife.
Which, yeah, I agree with. But although I do want more competent female fighters, I have to add, half of the original Z fighters haven't been competent in decades. If you're not a Saiyan, an alien, or robot, you're just going to be in the background. I mean, if you think about it, what can these ladies do? Other than 18, if they try to run in during Frieza's next invasion, they'll just become damsels or get one-shotted or be distractions to their spouses, which is never fun to watch. And even if they aren't the strongest fighters, so what? I still enjoy their characters, not because they're women, but because they are just fun characters. And also going back to that comment, we are seeing more female fighters appearing. Whether in the games, the animes, the movies, or in the manga, we are seeing much more variety of women that we haven't seen before. Personally, I'm really excited with what they're going to do with Pan. Maybe they can fix her from what GT did to her. So although Dragon Ball had a trend with Housewife being the main destination for girls for a while, it seems like we are heading into a new era of girl fighters we haven't seen before. Like my videos? Please consider joining my channel membership. It's only $1.99 a month and it helps support us here. You will have access to never before seen videos, early access to the next chapter of Goten Black with no audio, and help increase the productivity of Goten Black. Joe needs to be paid with all this amazing editing he does, and I also need money for school. In fact, currently I'm looking for a second job to help pay for my rent, bills, and college tuition. So any money helps. Shout out to my amazing channel members. Your support means the world to me, and shout out to my first ever Patreon member. You rule! Which, speaking of which, can't wait for Goten Black? Well, now you can read the available pages on my Patreon when they are out. It'll just be $3 a month and will help us even more to get y'all the Goten Black content you deserve. Thanks for watching! Bye!